Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be discussing a new what if. We all know about the sad death of future Gohan when he faced the two androids. Originally, this is where future Gohan met his end. But what if, instead of him dying, in this way, he was saved by the Supreme Kai of this timeline? In this scenario, what if future Supreme Kai saved future Gohan, instead of him dying off at this point? How could this big change affect the entirety of the future timeline and the rest of the story? Also, I'm on the Discord for anyone who wants to join and talk more about Dragon Ball with me and other viewers. Maybe give out some ideas of your own what ifs, and maybe in the future, I could do them. Check in the link in the description down below. Without further ado, let's dive into what if future Supreme Kai saved future Gohan. So, before we start off, there won't be any future Gohan name, it would just be Gohan since there is no time traveling in this scenario. Just saying that before we start. So, we start off where Gohan will be facing the androids like normal. The fight where he is supposed to die, but the moment where the androids are prepared to finish him off with their blast attacks, in the last moment before he is struck with the attacks, he sees the figures over him saying that he cannot die just yet, as Gohan passes out. Once the androids stop firing, they go check to see his body, but they cannot find him. They are confused, but they are sure that he couldn't have survived the attack, and just chopped it up as they completely erased him as they flew away. Later, when Trunks would be awoken from being knocked out by Gohan, he would quickly head to the city, but would not be able to find Gohan's body anywhere. Rather than thinking him dead, Trunks would believe that maybe he is still alive somewhere. So in turn, with this, Trunks would not have the chance to achieve the Super Saiyan form. He would head back to Capsule Corp in hopes to find Gohan there with his mother. To his disappointment, Bulma hasn't seen Gohan either. Trunks grows angry, thinking that maybe he was wrong and Gohan is dead. He decided to keep up on his training with his own, and hoped that he could obtain the transformation that Gohan had. Gohan finally wakes up to see that he isn't on Earth anymore. He gets defensive, as he does not know what is going on until he sees two beings approach him. He goes to attack, but is easily swatted away. They ask him to let him explain first. They introduce themselves as Kibito and the Supreme Kai, and that they saved him from his death. Gohan asks what they wanted with him, and they responded that they wanted to train Gohan as there was a bigger threat coming to Earth that is much worse than these androids. Gohan suddenly remembers Trunks and demands that he must return since Trunks cannot be going alone to fight the two androids. But the Supreme Kai said not to worry, as they are watching him from here. Supreme Kai said that if he wanted to return back to Earth soon, then they must start their training now. Gohan knows that he should go back, but also training could help him a ton since he knows he is not strong enough to fight off the androids. So, he would begin his training. He would go through similar training as Gohan did in the Buu Saga. He would reach the point where wielding the Z sword and would still be clumsy to break the sword. But with this, releases the Elder Kai and he is glad to be free from that prison, and would reward Gohan with doing the ritual dance for him to unlock his true potential. It would take around an entire day for the ritual to be done, and once it was, Gohan felt the immense power increase, and even obtained a new form called his Mystic form. With this power boost, he was confident that he could take on the androids. He did learn about the instant transmission technique from Supreme Kai. It would then begin his journey back to Earth to stop the androids. On Earth, it's been a week since Gohan went missing. Trunks has been training on his own, but hasn't grown much. He does see that his city is under attack by the androids and decides to go and try his best to stop them, to the dismay of Bulma, as she knows he is nowhere near ready to fight against the androids, but she couldn't stop him. He arrives at the city and faces the two androids. He asks what they do to Gohan, as they laugh, saying that they finally ended him, to a point where there was nothing left of him. Hearing this, Trunks grows angry and rushes at the two androids, but his mind was so consumed with rage that he didn't think about not being anywhere near strong enough to fight one of the androids, so they were beating on him easily without putting any effort. They got bored rather quickly with Trunks and prepared to kill him by shooting a ki blast at Trunks, but before it hit Trunks, the blast was deflected. Trunks looks up to see Gohan as he apologizes for being gone for a while. The androids are shocked to see Gohan still alive. Gohan looks up to the androids with an angry look, saying their days of destroying the planet is over. They give off a quirky smirk, not thinking of much of what training he could have done in a week, so they rush at Gohan to attack. But the blow they attacked on Gohan did nothing to him. Gohan is in his mystic form and blasts him away with ease. This power Trunks is witnessing is absolutely shocking to him. This fight would be far too easy for Gohan, as he rushes Android 17 and one slash he is cut in half, and Gohan would use a ki blast to completely destroy him. Android 18 sees this and is frozen in fear, as Gohan would use a Kamehameha wave to destroy her as well. Trunks is impressed with the power and asks him how he managed to get so strong. Gohan explains everything on their way back to the Capsule Corp. Once they arrive, Bulma is glad to see Gohan and Trunks still alive, and even more happy to hear that the androids are no more. She just wishes that they could bring everyone back until Gohan said it could be possible. He tells them to hold on to him, as he teleports them all to the planet of the Kais, and he introduced them all to the Supreme Kai. He explains that they look over the universe and that they have saved him and trained him to be strong enough to stop the androids, as Bulma thanks them, but also asks Gohan how they could help them bring back the others. As Gohan explains that they should be able to locate New Namek. Supreme Kai says that he knows where they could find the New Namek planet, and he would teleport them to New Namek. The Namekians remember Bulma and Gohan, especially with how much he has grown, and he even meets Dende again. They quickly explain what had happened to the last 20 years, and they are sorry to hear that of the bad luck they had faced back on their home planet, and would allow them to gather the Dragon Balls. They would use the wish to bring back everyone who had died to the androids, so all the Z fighters would return besides Goku and Vegeta, sadly. They would also revert all the damage the androids had caused. Afterwards, they would thank the Namekians for their help, and even Dende would go to them back to Earth to be their new guardian. Once they returned to Earth, they are greeted with everyone, and they are glad to see their friends again, especially Gohan when he is reunited with Piccolo, when they also see Kami, who was still the current guardian of Earth. But once they talked about Dende, Kami happily gave the role to the guardian of Earth to Dende, and would fuse with Piccolo to become the one Namekian again. Trunks and Bulma are a bit sad that they won't be able to see Vegeta again, but at least things are much better than what they were. Supreme Kai would cut off the reunion short, saying that even though there is peace, now there will be another threat bound to show up and everyone would need to be prepared for it. Now the fighters are much stronger than they were since they died. They'll have been training in the other world and all of them knowing the Kaioken technique, but they will continue on training to keep growing. Supreme Kai said that he would take Gohan to keep training with him, but Trunks would also want to go with Gohan as well, to gain the power that he did when he defeated the androids. The others would like to join but also want to stay on Earth for a bit before joining them. Now with most of the problems fixed and life somewhat back to normal, Bulma would actually never use her time machine but keep it in case of anything in the future. The Z fighters that were brought back to life, they would try to readjust being alive once again and also meeting up with their friends that lived. Piccolo would stay on the lookout with Dende and Mr. Popo to continue his training. And Mr. Popo would tell Piccolo about the time chamber that he is always allowed to use it for training when the preparations of the future threat that the Supreme Kai warned them about. With the hybrid Saiyans, their training would continue on the planet of the Kais, and it wasn't going to be easy, but they would have a few good years before Babidi would arrive. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when this would be, since the new timeline is a lot different now. Currently, it is the year 780. This is when originally Gohan was supposed to die. 3 years later, Trunks would have traveled back in time to give Goku the heart virus medicine. And then 3 more years after that is where all the Cell game happened and Trunks would come back and kill his timeline of Cell. And then 10 years later in age 796, this is where he would return for the Goku Black arc. So between the years of 786 and 796 is where he faced his timeline version of Dabura and Babidi. So let's say this. 6 years has passed since the world was saved by Gohan, so currently is the age 786. The fighters on Earth have been continuing with their training, and then this timeline Cell finally came out of his cocoon and started havoc on the planet. Piccolo would have been far strong enough to deal with him and easily took him out. At this point, Gohan and Trunks would have returned, and since they learned anything they can from the Kais. Maybe now other fighters would head there to the planet of the Kais to train under them, but I feel like it would only be like maybe Tien and Piccolo. So let's say this. At this point, it would take another 7 years before Dabura and Babidi would finally arrive on Earth. So the age is 793. At this point, Gohan and Trunks would have continued their training, but also start living on their lives as normally. Gohan actually getting with this version of Videl and would have a kid. But it's not Pan, but a son. And he resembled a lot like Gohan's father, Goku. So he would have named his kid Goku Jr. When Dabura and Babidi arrived, they would have been easily taken out by the fighters and preventing the birthing of Majin Buu. With everyone being alive and strong, with most of them having their potential unlocked and having the mystic form, things are looking up for the fighters and the lasting peace on the planet. The Z fighters will be able to live their lives normally for now, but soon a time will come where a cat will be woken up to see the fighter that he has been dreaming of. And that's where we're going to leave it off for now. Tell me what you think about the first part and how I did with fixing the future timeline. How do you feel about this new timeline of events? Happy that Gohan got a family and even have a son that's like Goku? What would they do when it comes to the time for the Super Saiyan God ritual? Would they have enough Saiyans? What could have happened differently? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. If y'all are interested and enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted whenever I post another part. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next part. See ya.